This is episode 7 of the Pro Wrestling with Wisdom show. I am your host, Nicholas Mullick. I'm very excited to be here again today, and we got a lot to cover here. So, last two episodes that we did, we covered the sudden death of Eddie Guerrero, the 20-year anniversary it was, and the death of Crash Holly Mike Lockwood, who I think is one of the more underrated parts about the Attitude Era. This episode is going to be focusing on more of the modern topics. We got a few here that I want to cover. Some New Japan news, an AEW interview Tony Khan did with Ariel Helwani, which I have a few takeaways on, and some WWE news that I want to discuss, and some decisions that I wanted to discuss further. So, all right, let's get right into the news. Let's start with WWE, because we got more topics on WWE that I want to talk about. So first things first, there was one show weekly that WWE does that I am not a fan of. It's obviously SmackDown. SmackDown has been an absolute mess the past few months, and the creative is terrible. I hate the storylines. I hate how everything is shot. I mean, the matches are pretty decent, depending on, an example, the Ilya Dragunov Open Challenges, which have been great. But there's just so many bad. It overlooks it. I love the Ilya Dragunov stuff, but besides that, it's been bad. And heck, Cody Rhodes' reign has been absolutely boring to me. And I thought WWE was going to look themselves in the mirror with how bad the product has been, because this is Survivor Series time, and not too long we got the Royal Rumble coming up as well, and they got to wake up from all this. So WWE got together, and what did they decide to do? Did they focus on wanting to rebuild the creative in the company? No. They announced that 3-hour SmackDowns are returning. Yes, because that went well the last time you did this. A lot of the fans don't like 3-hour weekly episodic shows. Hell, it's one of the reasons why I hated Raw for as long as it was. Especially during the Vince McMahon era, which that was terrible television as well. But once they moved on to Netflix, it's been more of like 2.5 or maybe more than 2-hour range, which I feel is a more appropriate time for a show. 3 hours is just too long. And with how bad SmackDown is, this is just going to drag the show and make it worse. What are you going to do? Have another hour of, the MFTs with Solo Sikoa, Tala Tonga, Jeff Cobb. By the way, JC Mateo, I'm going to call him Jeff Cobb because, man, was it a tremendous mistake Jeff Cobb went to WWE with how badly he's been booked. The Tongans, Tonga Loa, who's terrible. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. There was a spot where Rey Fenix was doing a corkscrew move out of the ring, and Tonga Loa doesn't even touch him. He missed him by a country mile. Tonga Loa is awful. And I love Tama Tonga as well, but like the MFTs are so boring to me. And yes, that is with Hikuleo, because I hate that they're calling him Tala Tonga because he's tall. And I hate the face paint that this group wears. I think it looks stupid. Really does. And there's just so many bad things about SmackDown. Why are they adding an extra hour to the show? Unless they were forced to by USA. Many people forget. WWE went to 3 hours for Monday Night Raw to begin with because USA Network requested it. Would I be shocked if this was a USA Network request? No, of course, but here's the problem. 3-hour shows harm the product. And with how bad SmackDown is, I don't see how this benefits. I really don't. And WWE they really got to fix their creative. And speaking of bad creative, let's get to Julia. And Julia's United States Championship run, I thought was going to help her so much. She has been poorly balked in WWE on the main roster. I think that it's been reported Julia wanted to get called up to the main roster quickly. I think her biggest mistake was getting called up quickly. She should have stayed in NXT, make the fans get more close to her there, and maybe smoothly transition her on the main roster. They rushed it with Julia. And look, she's very talented, but her U.S. title reign was so bad, so boring. It might go down as probably one of the worst title reigns in WWE. It's not as bad as the women tag belts, which should be burnt because there's no division. And I never want to see the women tag belts ever again. But Julia's reign has been absolutely horrible. And to make things worse, they attached Kiana. Look, attaching a manager to her is fine, but problem is Kiana James is not that great. I'm sorry. Look, no offense to Kiana James, but she doesn't have it. She really doesn't. And to be honest, that U.S. title is much better for Chelsea Green than it was for Julia. And I'm glad they took the belt off her. But man, those past few months have been absolutely horrendous with Julia. And that whole mid-card title's just been a mess with the U.S. belt. Because let's be real, Zelina Vega, by the way, WWE changed Zelina Vega's name to Zelina. Yeah, come on, like why? Why are you changing her name to just Zelina? But her U.S. title reign was awful as well. So I'm glad the belt is back on Chelsea Green, who actually worked as champion. But man, that title run with Julia was just absolutely horrendous. And now they're back to step one. And if I was WWE at this point, I would move Julia to Raw. With how bad she was booked on SmackDown, I would move her to Raw. And they're probably not going to, because now they extended the shows to 3 hours again. But Julia needs another change of scenery on the show, because it was absolutely bad here. Absolutely bad. And I don't know who was in charge of her booking and her title reign creatively. I'm very disappointed. And I just hope she recovers from it, because that's the type of reign that's absolutely terrible. Speaking of bad reigns, on Monday Night Raw, we got a new women's Intercontinental Champion, because Becky Lynch defended her title against Maxxine Dupri. And Maxxine Dupri won the match thanks to AJ Lee distracting Becky, and Maxxine won. Let me just say one thing. Maxxine Dupri, she comes across like a really nice lady, and it's clear that locker room loves her, and it's clear like she's well liked by everybody. However, and I do mean however, she's not a good professional wrestler. She's shown flashes in tag matches, and she's shown flashes during this feud with Becky Lynch, but she's not a good professional wrestler. Her mic skills suck. Her character sucks. I don't even know why the Alpha Academy are a thing still. I don't get why people like her. I really don't. She's sloppy, and she has no charisma. This better be a short reign, because I do not believe in her as champion. I don't. And then there's people out there saying, oh, but she had great matches with Becky Lynch. She's on the right track on her in the ring. It's Becky Lynch! She does professional wrestling matches very well, and she's one of the best in that company. And Maxxine is not. Becky carried her. Now look, will Maxxine improve? Maybe. But I just don't see her as this top champion. I don't. I think she's terrible. And just seeing her winning, I get it's to further the storyline between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, but I don't want to see Maxxine as champion. I hope that she eventually loses that belt quickly, puts it back to Becky, and then Becky can have a feud with AJ Lee for the belt. I honestly, they should. I think the biggest mistake with that belt too was Lyra not winning at SummerSlam. And now Lyra's pairing up with Bayley, which, to be honest, Lyra deserves better. I'm not a big fan of what they're doing with Bayley in this storyline with her going crazy with Lyra. I really wish that Lyra was on her own. She should be Women's Intercontinental Champion right now, and she's not. Very, very disappointing. Very disappointing that they put the belt on Maxxine. And I hope I'm wrong here. I hope she proves me wrong, because she seems like a nice lady. And let me say this, I don't mean to be mean to her, but I don't like why they put the belt on her. I really don't. I don't think she's that great. I hope it's a brief run and they take the belt off of her. But I don't know. Listen, congratulations to Maxxine. She seems to be very nice, so I'll just say congratulations to her. And, we'll see what they do with her. Let's talk a little bit about John Cena. John Cena won the Intercontinental Championship against Dominic Mysterio at Raw a few weeks ago. By the way, something that I said should have happened from day one when John Cena had his retirement tour. I said that during the Ringside Rant podcast. I said John Cena needs to be Intercontinental Champion during that last reign. And his retirement run has been very disappointing to me. The heel run was a disaster. I'm not getting into that. The match with Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza, oh man, what a great idea that was. Wasting one of Cena's final matches against Brock. What a great idea that was. I mean, they're not even going to have John Cena get revenge on Brock. What a complete waste of time that match was. I really don't understand it. And now we'll get to Survivor Series War Games when I do my predictions later on. But John Cena's Intercontinental Champion. Two words, too late. Should have been the Intercontinental Champion day one. I would, if it was me in charge after the heel turn when John Cena, WWE messed that up. After he lost to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, instead of having Brock Lesnar waste one of his final matches here, I would have John Cena have won the Intercontinental Championship from Dominic at WrestlePalooza. And then I would have John Cena do the IC Open Challenges. WWE's done a poor job with this run. I'm glad he's Intercontinental Champion. He's the Grand Slam Champion. But his last run has been absolutely terrible. And now we have a gigantic tournament. This is a 16-man tournament that's going to determine who John Cena's final match opponent will be, and this will be at the Saturday Night's Main Event show on December 13th. Which, let's be real, that's the only reason why everyone will watch it. And I hope they do a better job handling that than they did Goldberg's final match, because Goldberg may be an absolute malcontent, but his final run, you can't cut off the man during his retirement speech after he lost to Gunther. Speaking of the tournament, we had revelations to who was going to be in the tournament, and a few of the matches happened on Raw, and we still have a few more that are going on as well for this week. So Rusev defeated Damian Priest. Sheamus defeated Nakamura with two of the right decisions. I mean, Damian Priest should not lose to Rusev, in my opinion, but Jey Uso defeated The Miz. I don't care. I don't care about that. LA Knight defeated a returning Zack Ryder, which that didn't surprise me at all. When they said a mystery opponent, I'm like, oh, it's going to be Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, and Nick Nemeth. Everyone and their mother knew it was going to be those two. Solo Sikoa and Dolph Ziggler, like I said. Gunther versus Javon Evans, which was a very good match. And then we still have Carmelo Hayes versus Bronson Reed, Penta versus Finn Balor. And that's the first round of the tournament. To be honest with you, in my prediction for the final two matches, I think that they're going to have Bronson Reed win the first. Well, I'm going to say Bronson Reed wins the first one, and then Penta pins Finn Balor, because that's what Finn Balor is. He takes pins. He's basically the eater of pins, I'm calling him Finn Balor for now on, because that's basically what he is now. So everyone is wondering right now, who do I think is going to be John Cena's final opponent? When it comes to John Cena's final opponent, to me, I think it's Gunther. I said it since day one. It's Gunther. Because Let's be honest, dude. Like, Gunther has been out for the last few months. Make Gunther look strong and have him retire legends. He already retired Goldberg. Why not add John Cena to the mix? And let me just say, Gunther getting his old theme back, fantastic. I love Gunther. But yeah, have John Cena face Gunther in this last match. That's going to be my prediction. I've said that since pretty much from the beginning of when John Cena was retiring. I had a feeling this was going to go on. And I swear, do not do Jey Uso as the final match. Because if that happens, that's a terrible final match for him. But yeah, John Cena versus Gunther should be the plan here. Let's get into some New Japan news. Speaking of final matches, the ace and president of New Japan, Hiroshi Tanahashi. He's going to be having his last match at Wrestle Kingdom 20, which is going to be occurring on January 4th. We finally got the revelation to who Tanahashi's last match is going to be. It is going to be the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. Absolutely the right choice, because Tanahashi versus Okada is one of the greatest feuds in New Japan history. One of the reasons I got into New Japan was their feud in the 2010s and then 2000s, and their feud was fantastic. It got me into New Japan, wanted me to watch more matches and go back to the old days of New Japan and the current days. If it wasn't for those two having those matches, it's great. If you haven't watched it, go do it, because Okada's amazing and Hiroshi Tanahashi's great. But yeah, it was the only logical choice they could do. I mean, maybe if you could probably... I was thinking Konosuke Takeshita, but Takeshita is champion right now. I don't think you want to waste a big match on that. And with Tanahashi's last match, you got to have it be something big. And I'm glad that New Japan got Okada for this. And thank goodness for the partnerships that Kazuchika Okada and Tanahashi match would happen. You know, AEW New Japan partnerships, fantastic. And I'm glad they made it happen. I'm excited for it. Wrestle Kingdom 20, I'm definitely going to be reviewing that show when it happens, because it's Tanahashi's last match, and I love Hiroshi Tanahashi, the ace of New Japan. I'm not surprised he's retiring, because Tanahashi's knees are knackered, but you know, it's an end of an era. Tanahashi's retiring, John Cena's retiring, Edge is probably on his last few years in WWE, including Christian. He's probably on his last few years. The Dudleys just had their retirement. We're getting close as well to AJ Styles' retirement. Nakamura has already considered retirement. I mean, eras are ending, folks. Crazy. Let's get into the Survivor Series War Games. Now, I am not going to be recording a review of the immediate reactions, because the show is happening in November 30th, but I'm sorry, November 29th. But to me, when it's around Thanksgiving, and it's one of my favorite holidays, and I'm going to be recording something a little early, maybe a Survivor Series type video for you guys to watch, but I will not be doing it live on the day. It'll be more of a pre-recording that'll release on the Thursday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, by the way, for your friends and family. It's my favorite holiday, my family's favorite holiday. I'm going to spend that time with my family, but I'm going to be recording a Survivor Series type article, more of a historical piece. I'm thinking of a few topics, but that's the plan here. So I'm going to give my Survivor Series War Games predictions. I think so far there's been 4 matches. Normally there's the 5th match, but with War Games, I think it's just going to be 4 matches. So let's talk about the matches. So we have John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. I think John will definitely take the loss here to Dominic. He'll retain his Intercontinental Championship, because it's either Dominic retains his Intercontinental Championship, or, and I do think we have El Hijo del Vikingo interrupt the match with Dominic Mysterio, cost him it, and it will lead to a AAA match between the two of them to whatever the next big AAA show will be. And John Cena is still the Intercontinental Champion, but I'm kind of leaning towards John Cena losing the match and Dominic Mysterio wins. Could I see Cena winning thanks to Del Vikingo interrupting the match? Yes, but I'm gonna go with Dominic Mysterio taking the win here. Next, we have the Women's War Games match. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, and a mystery opponent versus Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the Kabuki Warriors, and an unknown name on their side. I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction here for who I think the final people in those matches are going to be. It's rumored that Liv Morgan's going to be on there. I mean, I could see it, but I don't know. You know, it's weird. There's rumors of Liv Morgan being in there. I don't think so. I think they're going to wait on that. Charlotte Flair could be involved. There's a ton of unknowns there, but here's what I think is going to happen. Here's who I think the final two opponents are going to be for the face side, because it's clearly going to be Rhea, Io, and Alexa. I think it's definitely Charlotte as one. I think she's definitely going to be joining them. And it's either going to be AJ Lee as the other spot or Maxxine Dupri. Because the mystery opponent for the heel side, I think, is Becky Lynch. And to be honest, I don't even think the women's side needs a War Games match. I just don't like the way it's been booked, and I just think it's been lazily thrown around. And if I were to side with a team here, I am going to side with the face team. That's just me. And let me just say one thing, though. Lash Legend. She debuted on the main roster. She is with Nia Jax to form a tag team, I guess, to try to build their garbage tag team division. Let me just say one thing. If you were going to call up Lash Legend to the main roster and stick her with the tag team with Nia Jax, what was the whole point of releasing Jakara Jackson? Am I losing my mind? Why did they release Jakara Jackson, keep Lash Legend, then call her up just to put her in another tag team with Nia Jax? There's more chemistry with Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson than there is with Lash Legend and Nia Jax stinks. She is not a good professional wrestler at all. She botches every match. She's sloppy, and she injures everybody. I don't understand why you would have Lash Legend be called up, put her in a tag team, when you could have just already done that with her and Jakara Jackson. Or Mare Sade, as she's going by in NXT. But yeah, I think it's going to be the face side that wins the match. Next up, Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella for the Women's World Championship. 3 words. I don't care. Why? Because Nikki Bella's return to WWE has not been good. And look, I don't want to say I hate the Bella twins, because I still appreciate them for what they did. And Nikki Bella is better than Brie. And I like Brie Bella too. She seems like a nice person. It just hasn't worked with Nikki Bella returning. I just don't, I can't get excited for it. And I guess it's just a throw-in match for Stephanie Vaquer to feud with somebody, because there's nobody credible for her to feud against. And I guess Nikki Bella is a legend. But no, I don't care. This is my bathroom break match. Stephanie Vaquer losing to Nikki Bella here. So Stephanie Vaquer wins. Let's move on. Men's War Games match. We have CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and Roman Reigns versus The Vision, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar. This is the match I'm probably looking forward to the most out of everything. Because Brock Lesnar's in War Games is crazy. I'm going to go with the faces here. Well, you know what? God, I'm going back and forth. I'm gonna go with the heels here. I think the Vision could use a win. Logan Paul could use a win. Drew McIntyre especially needs the win. Brock needs. I don't think he needs to win, but I think the heels could win here. You could still have tension between the Usos and Roman. Cody and Punk could lose, and I think the heels would benefit more for the win. All right, those are my War Games predictions for Survivor Series. We'll see what happens if I'm right or wrong. Let's conclude with one last topic, and this one's going to be a little more longer. We have Tony Khan and Ariel Helwani's interview, which I was stunned Tony Khan was going back to Ariel Helwani show after the first time it happened, but he did. And to be honest, I had a few takeaways from it. First off, I actually think Tony Khan did a really good job answering questions here. And I'm a big Tony Khan guy, and he really is smart. He may come across as nerdy here, but I think he really is smart. And I rewatched the interview. If you haven't, it's on YouTube. And I have a few takeaways that I want to discuss here and go through. First off, my big takeaway. They talked a bit about the CM Punk and Jack Perry fight that happened backstage. What else is new at Brawl? They basically had a backstage incident with each other, and it resulted eventually in Punk being terminated after the All In 2023 fiasco. And I find it interesting that Tony Khan basically revealed to Helwani he didn't agree with Punk's version of the events. And he wanted to reconcile with Punk, but he wanted to show the footage of the altercation. This was a Tony Khan decision. And to be honest, seeing the footage, I don't understand how it benefited him in a way. But here's the quote of what he said. It's a TV show and it did a very strong number. For many reasons, I think it makes sense in that it was a thing that was advertised and it got a lot of attention and did a strong number. It's the age of the beholder. So he basically did it as a ratings thing. But to be honest, I think it was a tremendous mistake releasing it because I remembered at the time when CM Punk got fired, he basically said he felt threatened, this or that. I mean, yes, the altercation did happen, but I don't see how, it resulted in Tony Khan fearing for his life. But listen, what's done is done. And to be honest, here's my view on All In 2023. Nobody comes off well in that story. Nobody. Jack Perry doesn't come off well. Young Bucks don't come off. Well, the Young Bucks weren't involved, but nobody. CM Punk doesn't come off well. Tony Khan doesn't come off well. AEW doesn't come off well. No one comes off well from this. Except for Samoa Joe, because he tried to not let Punk leave the match, the show, because him and Samoa Joe were having a match on that show. And Samoa Joe's the only one that comes off well in this. I'll put it like that. Next big takeaway. When we were talking about John Cena's retirement tour, there were so many people basically saying, oh, Adam Copeland. It's going to be Adam Edge Copeland that's going to do it. And I really think one of the biggest mistakes WWE did during the last year of Edge in the company, that they didn't do a match between John Cena and him. I don't understand it, but hey, got to put Austin Theory over, am I right? Got to make sure he looks good at putting people over. But yeah, should have done Edge and John Cena when they were in the company to begin with. When they were back on the same show. He was basically asked if WWE, if he was involved, and Tony Khan basically said no. WWE never asked AEW if they could use Edge to on Cena's final match retirement date. And to be honest, is anyone really that shocked? Anyone? I mean, WWE is competition to them. There's no way that Tony Khan, even if they asked, I don't think Tony Khan would do it. I really don't. And it shouldn't shock anybody. The next thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to this interview, Britt Baker. It's crazy to think Britt Baker at one point was seen as one of the top females in the company. Like, she hasn't wrestled since November of last year. It's been almost a year since we've seen Britt Baker in AEW. And I think it's fascinating that she has been used, and whether it's injuries, controversies, whatever. Tony Khan basically said like she could be returning to AEW soon. And, you know, like he didn't want to use her. And to be honest, I think it was more of a locker room / attitude issue going on with Britt Baker. But the fact that she hasn't been seen in a year and we have not had an update on it, I just don't see it being injury related. I don't. But if Britt Baker does come back, we'll see. And I think she will be great for that women's division. You know, I think a few things as well is that Andrade's definitely going to be going back to AEW once his no compete clause is done, whatever is going on there. It's still unclear what's going on with it or if he's fighting it. One thing I know for sure, Chris Jericho's done. And Jericho had his with AEW, and Jericho had comments about TNA being the number 2 show. Hints about him leaving. I think he's gone. I think he's done with AEW. And I think he's going to be in the Royal Rumble this year for the men's side. It would stun me if Jericho wasn't. But yeah, Jericho's going to be back with WWE. Another thing that I took away is Tony Khan was talking a little bit about the WWE and TNA partnership. And this was really interesting because WWE and TNA had look, partnerships are going to happen in business. And Tony Khan basically admits that it's an interesting collaboration, but he thinks they did that basically just to hurt AEW, but he didn't take it personally. And he basically said he isn't threatened by the partnership, which I think is great. And to be honest, they shouldn't be, because I've said it since day one. TNA is WWE's useful idiot. And speaking of TNA, that booking decision to have Mike Santana after 1 month as champion drop the belt is classic LOL TNA booking. I don't understand what they're doing with Mike Santana there, but I think it's key that the partnership, Tony Khan knows that the partnership is not good, for his business and the counter programming, but he's taking it on the chin and he's going to keep going and doing his business. Next up, and we'll conclude here, we got an update on Adam Cole, and it's not a good one. Cole had to relinquish TNT title at All In due to injuries, concussion-related ankle injury. So he's got so many injuries. The crazy part about Adam Cole's injury is they had to he had to get a new bone put in his body. I read something online, there was a new bone that was put in from a dead body, and that's how bad his injuries have been, and the concussions have been brutal. And Tony Khan was talking about Adam Cole in this history, in an update there, and he basically said he's not optimistic and not confident that Cole would return, but if he ever wanted to, he's always welcome in the AEW family. And to me, my biggest takeaway from there with Adam Cole, with what Tony Khan said, sounds to me like Adam Cole's done. And especially when rewatching that interview, where Adam Cole's basically giving a speech at All In Texas. It sounded like a retirement speech. And to me, I think Adam Cole's done with the concussion issues. And I think he'll be a trainer, a producer, a writer, be involved in creative. I think he'll be involved in AEW in some way. But I would not be shocked if he never wrestles ever again. Could I see him wrestle again? Yes, but I'm leaning more towards no, he's done with his comments on there. That concludes the Pro Wrestling with Wisdom show. I hope you enjoyed. I had a wonderful, wonderful time. Don't forget to hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button, bell for notifications. I am Nicholas. Thank you for everything. Have a good day.